Hello everybody, hope you're well. A little bit of a live stream this evening. We've got 2 rigs in the garden. I just thought I'd start streaming and see where we get to. So good evening everybody, welcome, come and join me as we look at Andromeda for a little while. So in the garden I've got 2 mounts, one of which is the 130 PDS and the other one is my 60 EDF mono setup. So this is the 130 PDS and it is currently riding on the ST20 harmonic drive mount, which has been a bit tricky to get going this evening. It wasn't wanting to guide. I think it's because we were so close to the meridian and it was basically not accepting pulse guiding at that point. So I think it was basically at its limit and therefore it would say, no, I'm not going to move any further. So it was basically doing what it was told to do. And the other rig, which I will now select from here, this one is the 60 EDF and it's on the Veil Nebula, and you can actually see the veil down there. So that's the Western Veil, or the Witch's Broom. It's actually very late in the season to do this. It's gone past the meridian and now it's setting over. So basically I'm only doing a short sort of session on this, and so that's what that one is. Now I've got 3 filters set up for this. So currently basically I'm hoping that we'll see the filter change and the refocus. So this is what we've got. We've got HA, O3 and then UV-IR, and I'm hoping to kind of create an HOO and then UV-IR for the luminance channel. Well, that's the idea anyway. We'll see how it goes. So in 3 minutes that will change and the filter will change, and then it will refocus because it needs to refocus. But you can see it's going quite low on the graph down there, and yeah. So that's kind of where we are with this at the moment. So the camera on this rig is just a mono 533 sensor, and the scope is a 60 EDF from Altair, which is a doublet, and it is reduced, so it's got a 0.8 reducer flattener in it, which takes it to 280mm focal length. So this is actually seeing, although it's a tiny scope, it's seeing quite a large portion of the sky. And I know it's a smaller sensor, but basically it should, hopefully, if I go to the framing, it should be a bit like that, although that's not quite correct, because if you compare where that is at the moment to where the imaging is, so the Witch's Broom is there, so this star here in the framing wizard is there. So the reason that looks different is because of this image that you'll see now. I know it's slightly behind my head. Basically the camera rotation is not taken into account because I didn't click determine rotation from camera. So that's why that looks different. But yeah, so that's essentially that bit. And then on the other rigs, so I've got 2 rigs going. So the other rig is on Andromeda M31, and you can see there's Andromeda. So this particular setup is a 130 PDS, so that's 650mm focal length. It's an APS-C size sensor, so it's an IMX571, which is the Altair version, the 26C. The only filters I'm using are the UV-IR cut filters. I tend not to use any filters on my Newtonians because I find they cause reflections with the amount of light pollution where I live. So I'm restricted. I can't use any light pollution filters. But to compensate for that, I only take very short exposures. So I only take 1 minute exposures and then loads of them. So absolutely loads. So typically on this, that will allow me to stack several hours together. The only problem with an APS-C size sensor is that that's a 50 megabyte file. So if you're doing, say, 1,000 50 megabyte files, your temp file for that is over a gigabyte. So it's over gigabyte. Blimey, if it was a gigabyte, that would be nice. It's over a terabyte. So that's just your temp file. So let's see who's in the chat. So we've got Old Geezer Gazing. Ho ho ho! You in the UK, Andy? Yes, I am in the United Kingdom. And I've got Alexander H. Hello from Germany. Here are not CS equals bracket. I'm clear skies equals nothing. Sorry, equals is the unhappy face. Sorry, didn't mean to be quite so stupid. Yes, welcome from Germany. Welcome from everywhere. I hope you're all well. I hope you're all, if you celebrate Christmas, I hope you're all having a nice season so far, which is great. So, it's a clear sky outside. We haven't had very many clear skies for the last probably 2 and a bit weeks. And so yeah, this is it. Basically, I've got a clear night, so I decided to rig. So if you guys have any questions at all, please put them in the chat, and I will endeavour, even if you just want to shout out, go for it. Let's have a shout out. Now I want to nip back quickly to this rig because you will see it's doing an autofocus, and the reason it's doing an autofocus is because if we go into the sequencer, it has now changed from the so if I just move the autofocus out of the way, it has now changed from the HA filter onto the O3 filter, and it is now doing a refocus because those filters do not have the same focal point. So basically it needs to do a refocus to say basically I need to refocus that particular bandwidth of the filter. So the O3 filter is now the one that's going to be imaging, so hopefully this should be fine. I haven't used my 60 EDF for over 8-9 months, so nearly a year, and so I wasn't sure if it was going to work, and in fairness it took me a long time to get going this evening because of various gremlins and things, but yeah, so here we are. So, Old Geezer Gazing, I'm in Israel with my S50 currently pointed at IC63, but I'm from Doncaster. Oh, that's where I was born. I was born in Doncaster, and hopefully home on the 23rd. Nice, excellent. Well, I hope you have a lovely journey back and seeing everybody. Yeah, so that's kind of where we are. So it's pretty much done its refocus. It's it's is what it is. So let's go back to imaging. Now I'm not expecting us to see very much now, apart from maybe some wispy bits near where that star is, like we saw before, because the O3 channel is of course a lot fainter, and although this particular target does have predominantly HA and O3, so we'll see. There might be something there to see, there might not be. We'll know in roughly 20 seconds from now. So guiding on this is not bad at all. I'm using a new mount. So basically I've bought myself an Ioptron mount with the enormous quantities of YouTube money, which is not true. So I got about £500 from YouTube, which is cumulative over the last few years, and I then topped it up and I bought myself an HEA 29, I think that's the right words, which is a harmonic drive Ioptron mount, and this is my second time using it. Kind of getting used to it. I have not set it up amazingly. I'm going to confess that it's not that well set up. That's why the guiding figures are not amazing. But when you look at this number here, that's also taking into account dithering. So if you go into Nina, now I believe Nina doesn't take dithering into account, but you can see it's fairly similar. There you go, it's gone down to 0.95. So the stars are lovely. They are so lovely and round. I am very happy. And the other thing is it's small and it's really portable. So yes, this is going to be an interesting mount which I'm going to use. I'm going to keep using all of the other stuff I've got. I might, depending on how things go, I might look at passing on my EQ5 Pro, not because I want to particularly get rid of it. It's just that I haven't got the space, and the ST20 is working at the moment, although it was a bit temperamental earlier, and this mount is kind of taking its place. So I need to think very carefully about mounts and things and storage and all that stuff. So yeah, you can see the blue channel quite nicely there actually, and you can also see, I can see a few bits around here. So I'm hoping this might have a bit more detail. Let's just look at the framing again. So what I was wanting to get a bit of Pickering's triangle, but I don't think my frame is going to have that. I think it's just going to have this section and the main veily bit there, and hopefully some of the oxygen data and the hydrogen. So basically the O3 and the HA. So yeah, that's this mount, and then the other mount. Sorry, the other one is not that window. That window, Andromeda. Hooray! So this is Andromeda that you can see here, and this particular mount is the ST20, and it is carrying a 130 PDS with a 26C, and I'm just doing 1 minute exposures without any filters apart from a UV IR cut, which just lives in the scope basically. So I don't use filters with my Newtonians because of the amount of light pollution where I live causes reflections within the tubes and in the coma corrector, and they're really difficult to get rid of when you calibrate everything. And the only way I've found so far to be able to do that is by basically only using very non-reflective filters. So that means things like UV-IR. Anything more sort of mirror-like causes these reflections because of the amount of light pollution where I am. So if I was in a far darker sky location, that would not be such an issue. So what you all up to? Are any of you imaging? Are you doing anything? So we've got so Old Geezer Gazing was born in Scoresby. Lol. Nice. I was born in Doncaster, and that's about as much as I know, because I was very young in that I'd only just entered the world. So I don't know where I was actually born. So yeah. Chucks SHC376, evening all. Hey, Andy. Hello. Hope you're all well. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn off my mic and my camera briefly. I'm going to take a photo, send it to myself, and then I can actually show you the rigs in the garden, which I should have done prior to this, but hindsight's a wonderful teacher, and I didn't. So I will go and do that now. So let me just go to there, and I will briefly turn off my camera, and I will turn off my audio, if I can work out where it is. There it is. So I'll be back very soon. Hello, I am back. Here I am. Right, so I just sent that to myself. Let's see if anybody's still around. You might have all deserted me. No, you're still here. Marvellous. So I've just taken a photo of the rigs in the garden, and I'm just transferring it across now. Okay. Let's just download it and open it. Here we go. So this is what is in the garden right now, and I know it's a bit grainy. Sorry about that. It's obviously dark outside, so this is a night shot. So let's have a look. I've got the 130 PDS that you can see here, and that there is the ST20 mount, which is riding on a small pier, and an EQ5 tripod, which we've got there. And then here is the 60 EDF with a filter wheel that you can see there. So that is the Pegasus Astro filter wheel, and the camera there is an Altair 533, and so this is the SV Bony mini guide scope, which is a 120mm focal length, and it's got a 120mm guide camera in there, and that's a Pegasus Astro focuser, and that's riding on the HAE29. I'm going to have to check I'm getting all these numbers right. Hang on. HAE29. HAE29. That's the one. So I will actually show you on Ioptron's website when it loads. So it's this mount. Can I pull that one across? I can. Look at that. That's not exciting. So it's this mount here. That one. And it's a harmonic drive mount. It's so far it's been really easy to use. I mean, just really easy, just sort of works. The only thing which I have found with it so far, which is entirely user error, is you have to configure the you have to configure the meridian flip, so the degrees past meridian, and for every degree is 4 minutes. So basically, I think I've got that right. So basically, I have put, I think it's 10 degrees past meridian. So it allows. So the idea is that Nina has control of the mount rather than the mount acting as the master, and that's very important because it will fail its meridian flips if the mount it basically takes control, because obviously Nina is the bit that's doing the automation. I hope that made a bit of sense. It might not have done, but it's ever so small, fits in your hand, really small. It's very light, and I think it has 17 kilograms loading capacity. I did not get an iPolar because I use SharpCap for polar aligning, and that's how it pretty much arrived. And it doesn't come with a hand controller. The version I got, it doesn't need a hand controller, so I'm only using it for imaging. So that is that. So basically, these are the rigs in the garden, and so 130 PDS, ST20 AliExpress thing, and then the Ioptron thing over there with the tiny little scope. So that's all rigging. Took me ages to get it going because I had not done this configuration for a while. That's camera from filming earlier, and that is blocking light. That is a flag that I put up, a wooden flag, and that blocks basically light. So that's there. So I know it looks very light. It is light because it's a long exposure. So let's go back to the actual rigs. There we go, Andromeda. So this is Andromeda. Guiding is good. So that's the ST20, and everything is working there very nicely. I'm not unhappy about that. And on the other rig, so this is the 533 with the 60 EDF at 288mm focal length. So, thinking of getting a Carbon Star 200 as a home rig. Okay, yeah, that would be a nice rig. Very nice rig, yes. Lovely. Hi Andy, wishing you a happy Christmas. Happy Christmas, everybody. You know, is it me, or has Christmas suddenly appeared very quickly? I'm not even remotely ready for Christmas. I hope you are, though. Yes, I have a feeling it will just appear in our house very quickly. In my area, it's cold. It's cloudy and cold, and it's not enough to see the process in the... Yeah, fair enough. Oh no. Yeah, it's this is the first clear night we've had for a while. It's not too cold outside. I think it's probably less than 10 degrees, but it's not hugely cold. So yeah. So this has just changed filter, and my sequence is really short this evening. My plan with this, so Pleiades, M45 will come over the top of the house and then go kind of towards, I always get this wrong, never eat shredded wheat, towards the west. So basically, that's not true. You can eat shredded wheat. That's for me to remember north, south, east and west, because I can't remember it very easily. But you can, of course, eat shredded wheat. Why would I say that? It's nothing wrong with shredded wheat. It's good. It's very good for you. It keeps you regular as well. So, yes, so Pleiades will go across to the west, and it will clear the top of my house. Now, I don't know what time that will be, so I needed a target that I could see and was going towards the west, which is where this came in. So I'm basically doing a bunch of HA, a bunch of O3, and then if I get any luminance, terrific, and hopefully by then the Pleiades will have cleared the roof, and I will re-slew and start another program for the Pleiades. Now I'm thinking Pleiades is probably going to be an RGB and luminance, so I might just go RGB and luminance for the rest of the night on that. So yeah, that's kind of the plan. Haven't decided on what to do on the other scope though. So this one, when that one has finished its sequence, I don't know where to go. So any good targets in the north, I could maybe slew to some of the things around Orion when they go up as well, when they come over, but I'm not sure yet. We'll have to see how I feel. So yes, what's everyone doing for the holiday season? Anything interesting? I have literally no idea where we're going. Well, I do know where we're going. I'm being silly. Just seeing family mostly, and I'm hoping to get a video out as soon as I can. But I haven't really started it because it's been really busy this week. So I'm hoping to get one out, or at least get it started, and then I think it's going to take probably a couple of days to make this one, but it's entirely dependent on work and other commitments. So yeah, any questions, please put them in the chat, or even if you just want to sort of, talk about salad or other things which you may wish to eat. I don't know, you might have a thing that you wish to talk about, or not, as the case currently is. But yes, that's it. That's kind of it. Gosh, so locally it's only 8:25. It feels a lot later though, which is a bit strange. So what's your favorite target? What's your favorite object to image? And how do you image it? How long do you image it? What focal length do you use? What cameras? Any particular filters you like to use? Anything interesting? pop it in the comments and we can talk about it. Let's go over to the 533, see what that's doing. Guiding's got really okay. I'm reasonably happy with this. This is good. Most of these little spiky bits that you see, even with a harmonic drive mount, tend to be cable management. And it's interesting that even just let's say you have a dew heater cable. Now I tend not to cable manage those because I have to de-rig my stuff and bring it in, so I just gently leave them in a loop, and I'm now believing that they are causing quite a lot of guiding issues, because that is kind of a cable going clunk and then it'll slew a little bit further and then clunk again as it moves, so it doesn't move with it gently going across. So I'm fairly sure these are cable management issues. Let's look at the guiding on the other setup. PhD, there we go. So this one again, I am almost 99.9% sure that this is cable management. Obviously dither does have an impact, but this guiding is pretty good. It's not too bad at all. Not bad at all. As I say, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat and I'll endeavour to try and answer them. So the ST20 on-step mount has actually so far been fairly reliable. I did have some issues earlier today this evening, where it was refusing to take pulse guiding, and I'm fairly sure that is because the mount had got to its meridian point, but Nina had gone further, so it was basically saying, I don't want to guide any further, even though you're telling me to. So the mount stopped. When I then parked the mount and then re-slewed, it went to the other side of the actual tripod, so it had already started the meridian flip, but because Nina hadn't started the meridian flip, I believe that's why it stopped its pulse guiding, because it's now been guiding consistently for probably half an hour, and since it did the meridian flip, when was the flip? So the flip was at 7:30. There you go, 7:24. So it's just there. So that means that it's been guiding now successfully for just under an hour without too many problems. It was also slightly cloudy as well, which does have a huge impact to your guiding. But now it's clear and it's looking nice outside. As you can see, that's a 1 second loop, and you can see it's relatively clear out there. This guide camera was the first ever camera I purchased, and it is an Altair 290C camera, and I think this is quite an interesting comparison. Bear with me with this one, because I'm going to take a second just to set it up. So basically, actually no, if I go back to there, so basically you see that field of view there, it's quite sort of feels kind of 16:9, and if I go to the 120mm, which is there, much more square feeling. It's not square, but it's not as 16:9. It's not as bigger a sensor, because they're different sensors obviously, but I didn't realize until I sort of did that comparison. I'm hoping I can maybe get the two screens, one there, and then if I do that one, put that one there, they're not, it's moved it over there, didn't want that. Let's make that bigger. Not a very good, there you go, it's a bit better. So there you go. You can see the aspect ratio there, and then compare it with a 120mm. So it's slightly cropped on that. Obviously the focal lengths of the guide scopes are different. So this one here has a longer focal length. I think it's 225mm, that one, and this one is 120mm. But the sensor size you can visibly see is different there. They both guide well though, and I don't have any problems with these cameras at all. They just sit there all night long and do their job, which is what you want. You want reliable stuff. So let's go back in. We've got a little glitch there of some kind. Again, I suspect that this is cable management. So as the mount is slowly being guided, the cables don't move at the same time, and then they lurch slightly. And I believe when it disappears from my head, I'll actually move my head because it doesn't help. Move my head to there. There you go. So you can see there, it's basically just there. I think that's cables catching up with the mount movement, and this is just dither, so we can dismiss that because that's it doing its job. So yeah, that's that. Let's have another look at this mount. And so that's dithering. That I think is probably wind or cables. And there's dithering again, and in Nina. This is what we're seeing. So this is, you can really visibly see the square sensor there from, I can't see you guys if you're seeing anything. There we go. You can see the 533 sensor, which is visible there. This is O3 data. Now, I didn't fully understand everything to do with Ioptron mounts, and I still don't, of course, because it's a learning curve, but this is the commander. This is the Ioptron commander, and you shouldn't have to do a huge amount with this, apart from assign the COM port, and in the mount panel you put your location in there as well. So I will do a video on the Ioptron commander and also the Ioptron mount once I've learned 100% that everything is working with my meridian flips, because I missed the meridian flip for this evening. So because if you look at where in framing it is, sorry, in imaging, I beg your pardon, because it's easier to see. No, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, oh yes, this graph down here. So this graph basically shows you that it's going away from me at the moment towards the west. In fact, the sequencer shows it best. There we go. But my head's probably in the way. So let's move my head again. There we go. Yes, so you can see on here that's basically it's going further away. And if you look at that photo again, you can see that it's obviously a lower angle, whereas this has just gone past, this had at the time just gone past meridian, which is why it was almost upwards and on the east side of the mount. If you have any thoughts or any questions, please do talk to me. I'm very happy to talk, and yeah, if anyone's imaging or if anyone's out, let me know, or if anyone just wants to say hello, that would be very nice, and I will say hello back. Let's see what's going on in are you all familiar with Nina? So Nina, nighttime imaging astronomy. So that's what it is. it's basically an automation system, and it's a very, very, very good automation system. It's like all of these, it obviously has a learning curve, but you can make it as complicated or as simple as you wish. And tonight I'm doing a very simple legacy sequencer setup here, where I've got 3 things that I wanted to do. I wanted to do images in HA, images in O3, and images on the UV-IR cut filter. And these will be 60 seconds long, and I'm just taking an hour of each, that's all. So I'm hoping to get about 3 hours on this, which isn't enough data, it massively isn't, but it'll be a bit of fun. So this one I'm really waiting for Pleiades to come over, which is what I would really like to target this evening. On the left hand side you have a bunch of icons. This one here, the equipment one, is the one that it normally defaults to, and you are able to select your individual pieces of equipment that we have. So the first one that we've got here is the camera tab, and I'm very aware that my head is, as always, in the way, so I'm going to put me back up there for now. So this is the camera tab, and you basically select the driver for your camera. I am currently using an IMX571, which is the 26C from Altair. This is a TubeTech rebranded camera, and it's extremely good. I cool it to -5, so it's currently at -5, and the dew heater is on as well. I'm just using a gain of 120 and an offset of 20. So that's what the camera's doing. I then have a filter wheel, which is currently the Pegasus Astro Indigo filter wheel, and I've got 7 filters in there. So I've got UV-IR, red, green, blue, HA, O3 and S2. And the filters are the UV-IR is SV Boni, the red, green and blue are SV Boni, HA are Altair, the 7 nanometer or 6 nanometer, same for the O3, and same for the S2, the 7 or 6 nanometer Altair filters. The reason for that is because my SV Boni filters, the O3 and S2, presented really bad halos. The HA was very good, no problem with the HA, but Altair did a really good deal for 3 filters, so I have updated those filters, and I will at some point reuse the SV Boni ones for something or other. The red, green and blue, they worked really well. I have no problems with those, and so those have not been changed. So that's my filter wheel setup. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. It's fine. So those don't need changing, and the HA, O3 and S2 I did change. The focuser is a Pegasus Astro Focus Cube 2, and again, that's mostly very reliable and it just works. The mount is the HAE 29, and again, that's working very well, and this is where it's set up and controlled from in here. And then the guiding, of course, is PhD2, and this is doing its thing at the moment that you can see. Then we have things like the Star Atlas on this side, which I don't really use. I perhaps should use that a bit more. You then have the framing wizard to allow you to find and slew to targets. So that is a very comprehensive set of pictures and coordinates. So you find out your coordinates. Google is your friend. So find out where you want to go to, and then load an image of that. It then populates the coordinates, but it is entirely dependent on making sure you put in your focal length correctly there. And in the options tab under under equipment, I beg your pardon, make sure that your focal length is correct there as well. Otherwise your plate solving will not work, because it will be looking for a different image scale, and obviously the focal length is very dependent upon that. So that's the framing wizard. You can always tell if your plate solving is going to fail or if your slew and center will fail, because just here it will not populate the right ascension and declination. It will go NA, 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 NA for both. And that's probably 99.9% of the time, because your focal length or camera, although it tends to pull that camera data down itself, it tends to be because those are not inputted correctly or not actually put in at all. So that information is critical for plate solving to take place. You then have the flats wizard, which is amazing. It's really good. Use it. Fantastic. I used this to basically take all of the flats that I need to take. Sequencer is obviously the bit that is controlling all of the automation. A very simple sequencer. I'm not using the advanced sequencer tonight. Don't need to, because it's just a test evening really. Then the imaging tab is kind of your control center, which gives you an overview of everything that's happening, including the picture. It is entirely user configurable, so it shows you everything that you have configured. Really useful. It does take a little while to set up, but once it's set up, it just remembers how it's been set up, which is great. So that is the imaging tab. Then in options, this is basically the technical setup of additional items. So things like general technical settings, the equipment tab, things like telescope focal length, the camera you're using, stuff about the mount, etc., and other things that's like the filter wheel and where the filters are. It also, in this particular tab, you can set up the configuration for your autofocus. If you had an observatory or have an observatory, all of that would be configured from in here. And this is configuration of the imaging tab, and then configuration of your plate solving. In my case, I'm using ASTAP for plate solving, and it seems to work very well indeed. Then finally, at the side here, you have plugins. Now, the only plugins really that I use are Hocus Focus, which is a very good plugin for doing quick focusing, and so that one is installed. And I also have synchronization. When I use my dual telescope rig, I need to synchronize two cameras and dithering, and this plugin does that. So one camera or one rig becomes the primary and the other one becomes the slave or the secondary, and it has to synchronize the secondary to the primary. That's what this plugin does. So that's a bit of a whistle stop of imaging, and I'm not looking at the right screen. So let's look at this screen here. There we go, I can see you all again. Let's just double check everything is working. So this is the ST20 mount. Let's go and have a look in Nina. So that is M31, which we're looking at currently, and seems to be pretty good. The stars look quite good. This is a Newtonian, and the stars look nice. Not unhappy with those. Kind of little flares coming off, but I'm not hugely worried. I wasn't planning on doing anything spectacular this evening, so yeah, that's kind of where we are with this. And then back on the other rig, so there's the veil. You can see the veil clearly down there. That's the western veil. See if I can pull it across a bit, and that is O3 data for that. The stars look lovely and round on this little scope. This is just a 60 EDF, and it's a doublet. Very short focal length at 288 millimeters. It's reduced with a 0.8 flattener reducer, and yeah, it seems to be going very well. And the guiding, it looks pretty good too. Brilliant. So I think I might go and see if everything is going well outside, and so far it looks like it's pretty good. That's basically what's in the garden, which I'm sure many of you have already seen. So there's the 130 and there's the 60 EDF. So that's kind of where we are currently. If you have any questions or any thoughts or anything you'd like to ask or anything you'd like to say, please feel free to put it in the comments, and I will endeavour to say hello, if you so wish, or not, as the case may be. So how much longer have I got on this sequence? So we're at 35 of 60, so another 25 minutes to go. I'm dithering, because I'm doing 1 minute exposures, so I'm dithering on every 4. That's the plan at the moment. Right, I'm going to go and change the view there. I'll be back in just a second. I'm just going to nip into the garden and check everything is working and see if Pleiades is beginning to get to clear the roof, because if it is, then I may think about reframing one of these scopes and see where we get to, but I'll have to see where Pleiades is. So I will be back shortly. I will just quickly mute my mic and turn the video off, and then I'll be back very soon. Hello everybody. Let me just turn my camera back on. There we go. Hello. So Pleiades isn't quite where I need it to be yet. It's not cleared the roof, so I reckon another 20 minutes or so, and it should hopefully be clear of the roof. My cat is currently going crazy. I'm not sure why. Who knows? Right, so yes, so I'm wondering which targets to do on one of the scopes, because I think I would quite like to keep, so on the I say big scope, it's not a big scope, but on the 130 PDS, I think I'm going to leave this going. So let's look at the sequencer and see what we've set up. So it'll currently keep going until, well, it gives 5 hours. That will be alright actually. What's the weather going to do? Let's have a look at the weather. So it's meant to stay clear until about midnight. It's not due to rain, but it is due to get cloudy. So what I could do, I think I might leave that at 460-second subs. It's got plenty to go on. That'll take me to around here, and then it'll park, and that'll be cool. So that's that mount. Then the other mount, this one, has got at least another hour going. So what I might do, so this should take us to 10. I'm wondering how many VIR I'll need. What I might do is just let this run through until Pleiades clears the roof, and then I'll create a new plan for the Pleiades. In fact, we could do that now. So let's go M45. And we'll load the image, and then we'll work out where we want to go. There we go. So there's Pleiades, and it fits beautifully within the 533 and 280 millimeters focal length, so that's good. And I'm thinking do an RGB and then basically do as many as I can on each of those filters. Probably if I can do 80 on each, that would be good. That would be a good amount to do. So that's basically going to be the next target. So what we'll actually do, I'm going to add target to sequencer. It's going to be in the legacy sequencer. So it's now created. So that's the tab we're currently imaging on. This is a new tab, and it will sequentially move on to this. And I could set this up to basically just do this automatically without any problems at all. But let's set this up. So I would like it to slew to the target and start guiding. I want it to, on the start, do an autofocus, and also on every filter change do an autofocus. When the half flux radius increases, I also want it to do a autofocus as well. So when it increases there, the filters, I want it to be, I'm going to go red. Let's add 2 more, green, blue. So red, green, and blue. I want it to dither, and I want it to dither every 4. Oops. 2, 3, 4, and then dither on that 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are all preset. The durations are only going to be 60 seconds for each. Oops. And I'm going to let this, oh, actually something very important. I don't want it to warm the camera. So that's fine, because, and I want it to park the mount? No. But I will on this. So I will want it to warm the camera and park the mount and meridian flip, and everything else is cool. So let's go back into this. So the number of, so I said 80 exposures. This 18. Okay. So that would be a plan. Okay, up to 5 hours. Yeah, that should do the job, hopefully. So that would be Pleiades, and if I set start guiding on filter change, yeah, so that's a simple setup, hopefully. So let's go over into this here. Now I did note that where the 60 EDF is currently pointing, it is getting to the point where it's about to go into a tree, as in it's quite low on the horizon. So I just need to think whether or not I pull this and then park it just until Pleiades clears the roof. We'll see how I feel. So in just shy of 14 minutes, we'll be changing filter onto the UV IR cut. I think that's all okay. Looks all okay to me. Should be fine. It's nice to see the veil though. It does look very cool. And I am very pleased with how these stars look. Looks very smart. Right, what's going on with the other mount? Right, imaging. Andromeda's good value, isn't it? It really is. It's just such a bold thing to look at. Very, very cool. Guiding's okay. If you guys have got any comments or any thoughts, please do put them in the chat. Anything that you can think of, or if you'd like to ask any questions. I'll go through the rig again in just a second. I just need to get some water because I realised I left my glass in there. So I'll go and get some water, and then I'll be right back. So I'll just turn off the video and sound again for a second, and then I'll be back very soon. Hello. Does anyone else just sit and watch their subs roll in? I hope it's not just me, because I kind of feel a bit silly. But yeah, I'm kind of hoping that you all do exactly what I'm doing now, which is basically sit and hope that everything is going to keep working. Does everyone else do that? It's kind of it's what you do, isn't it? You just sit here and you watch and you hope that everything's going to keep working. At least I do, anyway. Yep, I thought so. So Andrew says, yep, I do the same. So it would be nice if it just, I mean, when I leave this, when I know it's clear, like tonight, it's, you know, it's nice to be able to know it's going to work, I guess. But you do kind of just sit and watch it as if it, well, you're just babysitting it, aren't you? Another thing which I was thinking about, if you were, let's say you were a telescope operator and you were at a professional observatory, is that what you do? Do you literally sit and wait? And this is it? Is this what, or what I'm trying to say is this the role that a telescope operator would do, let's say, in a large observatory? I'm assuming it is. And I'm assuming they're not using Nina. I don't know. They may be using Nina. Who knows? Or they may, I suspect, have bespoke software to control all sorts of weird and wonderful bits of equipment. I'm just very interested. I suspect if you were in a professional observatory, you'd have a long list of targets, though, because your telescope time is so expensive that you'd set up a huge automation list and slewing to different targets in order to gather that data that's required for research. So I would imagine you're restricted almost more. Well, you would be restricted more. It's not like us where we can just sort of sit and although we're restricted by the weather a lot, I don't know, it's an interesting thing. So let's hop back to if you've just joined, hello, welcome. I've got two rigs running tonight. One is the 60 EDF, which is riding on an Ioptron HAE29 mount, which is a harmonic drive mount, and this particular scope has got an Altair 533 mono setup with a filter wheel setup in there, and it's currently on the so I've got the West Veil there, or the Witch's Broom, and I wanted to get a bit of the oxygen and hydrogen that you can see below there as well. So that's why the framing is like that. And then on the other rig, which is this one, oh look, we've got a satellite. That's exciting. So this one is the 130 PDS, which is riding on the ST20 harmonic drive mount, and I have a IMX 571, which is the Altair 26C color camera, and so that's imaging here, and it's on Andromeda. Both mounts are guiding okay. I'm not unhappy about the guiding. Obviously with dither and occasional bits of wind and cable movements, that's why you get these little spikes every now and then. Earlier the mount stopped guiding, and I think it's because I was at the limits of the mount during the meridian time, which is why I think it failed to keep pulse guiding. So I had to wait for the meridian to go, and now it's been absolutely fine. So I'm almost 100% sure that was the case. So very soon, I'm hoping that we'll be able to go onto Pleiades, which is M45. I've already set up just in the simple legacy sequencer here. So RGB, red, green, and blue filters, and 80 exposures, and a total of at 60 seconds, and dithering every 4. That's the next plan after this. So at the moment we're on this plan here. So in 4 minutes it's going to change filter, so we'll see that happen while we're doing this. It's all looking like it's currently functioning. Hello, cat. You alright? Hello. Here is a cat, everyone, who's just joined us. This is Biscuit. There he is. Hello. You alright, mate? What you doing? You busy? Oh, the cat wants to sit down. Yeah, you want to sit down? I thought you did. something I need to do. I'm just to turn off my updates, otherwise this PC will update. Cat is purring away. I don't know if you guys can hear him. What you doing, eh? What you doing? Autofocus. Now I think that's because it's now, so it has changed to the UV IR cut, and it's now doing an autofocus. Which so far is going okay. So yeah, autofocus is looking good. Guiding is okay as well. Great, so hopefully this should be the first exposure with the UV IR cut. Let's see what we see. Oh wow, look at that. That's cool. Well, I didn't realise we'd see quite so much more. So this would just be my luminance. That's cool, isn't it? There's loads there. Shame I haven't got more of Pickering's triangle. I'll take that though. I'll take that. That's all right. That'll make a nice image. Okay. That's cool. His cat's still on my lap, and he's wriggling around. Where are you going? He's gone. He's off. There he goes. I'm now covered in hair. Thanks, cat. Astro Shed has joined. Hello, good evening. How's it going? How's the imaging going? Yep. Hope you're well. Hope all is well. Yeah. So I've got two scopes. Right. In fact, I will find the photo. Let me find the photo. It doesn't actually look like this now, because obviously this was about an hour ago. Downloads, that one there. Okay, so we've got two rigs this evening. I've got the 130 PDS on the ST20 mount, and I've also got a 60 EDF, which is a mono setup, riding on an Ioptron HAE29 mount, which is new to me. It's new full stop, I mean it's new. So that was a harmonic drive mount there. And that's got a 533 in, mono 533, and this one is a colour IMX571. So this is currently doing the luminance filter on the veil. So that's the west veil, or the witch's broom, which you can see there. And on the other rig, which we will now go over to, so this is on our old friend Andromeda, M31, and it will stay on this all night, hopefully. So that's the plan. And guiding's okay. It's not bad. There's been, so that one was dither. That one is probably cables, but I'm not too worried. The stars do appear to be good, and the figures aren't truly horrendous. Obviously they are at the moment because they've got these two peaks, but the stars are okay. So yeah, that's all good. And the conditions are okay outside, actually. They're not too bad. Not too bad at all. So yeah, guiding on this little Ioptron mount, guiding, which you can see here, is actually very good. I'm not too bad, not too unhappy with this at all. The only thing which I have found with this mount so far is I struggled to get the correct degrees inputted into the Commander software, which is the number of degrees after the meridian. And what you have to do is you have to give a window that is bigger than the window for Nina, because if Nina's window is if Nina if basically your mount says no, I've reached my limits and I won't guide any further, the meridian will not happen. So you have to basically allow Nina to have full control over the mount. So you put in a number of degrees after the meridian to enable that window, that enough time within Nina for it to take place. But you set that within the Commander software. I hope I said that okay. So what I'm essentially saying is that I haven't got enough experience with this mount yet to fully know everything about it. AstroShed has Ioptron Commander and he knows it well with the CEM70. That's a nice mount. That is a nice mount. Cool. So let's head back into Nina and now this is what I wanted to see. This is cool. So we can now see branches from the trees. So this essentially means that the object's got low enough on in the sky going towards the west that I'm now beginning to get branches from trees. So there's literally no point continuing with this imaging right now. So I might stop this in a few moments. Let's just see what the next sub says, and then I just need to nip outside because I'm waiting for Pleiades to come over. So hopefully I'll be able to get onto Pleiades, but I don't know whether I can. So I'm pretty sure that this will show more branches. Yeah, so those are the branches from the trees. There's no point in continuing on this now, much as it fills me with joy to see the object. There's literally no point. So in terms of imaging, I mean, it's lovely to see though. It is great to see. So what I'm going to do is just stop this for now, and I am going to, what I might do is just park for now. Actually, I'll home it. Mount, go home. So the mount right now is just finding its home position, and I'll go into the sequencer here and I'll just delete that one. So our next one is going to be Pleiades, and I don't think it's cleared the house yet. I could certainly have a look. Actually, you know what? Why don't we just? We're on the right filter. Just have a quick look. Let's just slew to it. Slew and center. So I think this will turn out. So what the mount's doing now. So we did our framing earlier on Pleiades, and so the mount is now slewing to that bit of the house, and or that bit of the sky, and I know that it's probably just on the verge of clearing the house at the moment, but I don't think it will have done it yet. So I suspect this will just be house. Yeah, it's just house. So I'm just going to stop this, otherwise it will keep trying to plate solve house, and to the best of my knowledge, house is not in any plate solving databases, so we don't want to plate solve house. So I'm just going to quickly go outside and check where the mount is and make sure everything's okay, and then I might just home it for a little while until we can actually get onto Pleiades. It won't be long, it'll be probably an hour, I would say. So I might stop streaming, get the kids to bed, and then come back. If you guys are up for it, that would be cool. It would be great to see you all. And I might just leave in fact I could just leave the other mount doing stuff. Sorry, the other, which one is it? This one. I could just leave that one running for something to look at. Right, I'll be back in just a second. I will leave you with Andromeda just for a second while I just go and see whether Pleiades is even close to clearing the house. Back in a tick. Hello everybody! Right, where are we? Okay, so we are very, very, very close to being able to get to Pleiades. It's literally, so apex of the roof, just on the other side there, on the apex of the roof, and the scope's in the right place. It's currently tracking. It's just tracking. It's not guiding, obviously, because it's looking at the roof. So yeah, that's roughly where it is. So hopefully, if I now go, not that one, that one, go there, and if we go into imaging, so obviously that's the house. So soon, if I take a couple of exposures, you'll still see house, but eventually it should clear this. Yep, still house. Can't do a lot until house is no longer house there. But the mount is essentially guiding at the moment. Well, it's not guiding, it is moving at the moment. So while we're waiting, so I reckon 15-20 minutes, it'll have cleared the property. So let's just play with, so guiding's not great now, on this mount. It's not hugely problematic, but it's not amazing. There is a bit of a breeze outside, so it is obviously causing something. I mean, it's fine. I'm not too worried. So we've just dithered, and yeah, it's fine. It's all good. So on this setup, I'm just taking 1 minute exposures. That seems to be a sweet spot at the moment for me. It seems to be just something that is working for where I am. And I've got another, well, it was 400 up, so I've basically got just over half, well, quite a significant amount over half still to go. And that'll take it up to about 2 o'clock in the morning, when it will hopefully park and warm the camera, and then sit there quite merrily until I come down in the morning. So on these two scopes, so this is a nice scope. It's got so it's a doublet, and it's reduced to 288 millimeters. A mono setup. It's one thing which I've learned, compared to say a reflector like this one. There's very little that you have to do with a refractor. There really is very little, and it just seems to do its thing. This one, on the other hand, whilst Newtonians are great, they do need they're like a needy child, so they need to be fettled. So this particular telescope has got a mirror mask. It has been flocked. I have painted all of the mirror edges and the focuser tube. It has a replaced CNC'd spider on it, and it also has thumb screws for collimation, and obviously I've put felt over the back to stop the light from this street lamp, which is currently being blocked by a piece of wood, so that casts a shadow that goes over the front part of the scopes. It works actually really quite effectively, as weird as that sounds. It does work quite well. And what else have I done? I've taped up all of the edges around the base of the focuser. Obviously the 3D printed dew shield. I think that's it. And it's got dew heaters on as well. So one here, one around the base, and one on the secondary mirror as well. So there are 3 dew heaters on there, and then 2 dew heaters on this one on the guide scope, and one around the primary lens cell at that end. I think that's, yeah, so basically this scope's kind of I've got it now. The only other thing really that I could do to that 130 PDS is get the carbon fiber tube for it, but I don't know how big an improvement that would be in terms of, obviously it would be lighter, it would be more stable in terms of expansion and contraction, but most of my stuff I rig relatively early, and it just cools down or acclimatizes to the ambient temperature, so I don't know if that's going to be much of an issue or if it would be an improvement. So that's and I love the 130 PDS. The reason I love it is because it's just light. It's a good focal length, 650 millimeters. It's not too fast, not too slow at f5. It's kind of the f4 Newtonians are harder to collimate. This one's quite forgiving. It's generally just a fun little scope that you can, and they're not massively, well, so it's not massively expensive. When you've modified it and done all the bits and bobs to it, I'm afraid the price does go up. It comes, £300-400 scope. But in the bigger picture of what it can deliver, I suppose that's a cheap telescope, but it delivers so well. It was just, oh, did I say it's been flocked? Yes, the whole tube inside's been flocked. Oh, I've got something to show you guys. This is cool. Back in 1 second. Would you look at this? Here we go. This is the Andy of Astro calendar, Christmas calendar, which I've only printed 30. I know that sounds not very many, but it was only really for sort of colleagues and friends and family. Sorry, colleagues and family. So here we go. Oh, can you see that? The Andy of Astro 2026 calendar. Woohoo! So there we go. That's my calendar. I chose 12 photos, and because there are 12 months in the year, fairly obviously, and I've got things like Orion and another one, M81. So yeah, there we go. There's Iris Nebula and the Elephant's Trunk. If you take images, I think this, so 30 of these I got for £94, which is actually a really good price. There'd be a lot more than that. So I got 30 printed. I've given a bunch to work colleagues, and I've got my wife's family, my family, and I might have a couple more to give out to colleagues. But if I have any free, drop me an email, and I might give. There won't be many. There really won't. There'll only sort of be probably 2 or 3. But I don't know yet whether I need to think about other people to give them to. But basically, there might be a calendar free for somebody. So yes, the Andy of Astro calendar. Now, interestingly, is that quite a serious question I want to ask you guys? Is that something which people would purchase? So, for example, if I actually created a business, albeit a microscopic business, and let's say I had say 70 of these printed, would I be able to sell? Obviously I'd give some to friends, but would I be able to sell these, and what price would you be prepared to pay for a calendar? They're quite cool. They stand upright as well. They're on a stand. I'm not here to make money from this. It's to cover the cost. I posted one to a friend, and it was £5 to post first class. I wouldn't be posting them first class. It would be second class, and that would be about £4. So you'd have to cover that. Obviously, the printing cost is about £6. So 6, let's say that's £10. And then, is it worth adding a couple of quid, 20% on? So let's say, would you pay £12 for a calendar? It's an interesting question. I don't know whether people would buy them, to be honest. But if you would, then I'd be interested to know what you would be prepared to actually pay for a calendar, and whether or not you'd even want a calendar for that matter. Is it worth getting, say, 70 of them printed? Would there be a market for people to? Would I end up with 30 odd calendars that hadn't sold. That would be very funny, but also would cost me a lot of money. Please put something in the comments whether you would be interested or not. There are 11 of you. Even if one of you, which is just under 10%, puts a comment, that would be amazing. So no, that's cool. It's all good. Right, let's see if we are anywhere nearer clearing Pleiades. So I'm taking an exposure. Of course, I am working on the premise here that the Ioptron mount is actually tracking currently. It might not be. It might just be sat there. It is tracking. Right. This is good. This is good. Look at that. That's exciting, isn't it? You say yes. Yes, it's really exciting, Andy. Well done for showing us your roof and the sky. So we're halfway through. I reckon, how long is it going to take to go across there? I don't know how many degrees that is, but I think it's going to be 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, and then it will have cleared the roof, and we'll be able to see Pleiades in all its gloriousness, which is cool. So what would you pay for a calendar? So bearing in mind, postage and packing is going to be £4 minimum. So what would people pay? Oh, that's a really good point, and I did not think of that. Overseas postage is going to be more. Oh, I'm gutted at that. Someone who is in India, and it would be costly to ship. Oh, bless you for saying that. So yes, I don't know. So that's in the UK. So £4 in the UK. So that makes it almost. I just don't know what the international shipping is. But you're a star for saying that, because I just sorry I was so local. I just didn't think globally, and this is obviously going out everywhere. So yeah, you're right to say that it would be expensive to ship overseas. So I just didn't think of that. So we've got more stars coming any second now. Yay! Look at that! More stars, less roof. Soon as we see less roof and more stars, and then we can start making pictures, which will be nice. Let's go back to the other rig, which is here. It's guiding well. That's all good. Go into Nina and let's have a look at our local neighbour. So Andromeda, there we go. A little bit of Andromeda. I've got a nice donut of dust there, and there's another one somewhere which I can't. Oh yeah, just there. So that donut of dust, I hope my flats will take care of. I don't know where that is, but at some point I need to probably. Well, it's not severe. I mean that disappears when you take flats, of course. So we're a third of the way through this plan, or thereabouts, and I'm not doing anything spectacular with this. It's simply just taking 1 minute exposures through a colour camera. Nothing particularly revolutionary at the moment, but it's all going very well. And on the other rig, for those who have just joined, so these are the two rigs. This was about a couple of hours ago, and basically we've got a 130 PDS, heavily modified, with a bunch of CNC spiders and flocking and painting, reflection removal, all that jazz. So that's on this side. And then this one is a 60 EDF, which is a mono setup. It's only a doublet, but it is reduced to 288 millimeters with a 533 mono setup, Pegasus Astro focus wheel, focus wheel and filter wheel. I knew it sounded wrong, and a Pegasus Astro focuser on there, and that's guiding. This is riding on an Ioptron HAE29. Have to think about that every time I say it. And this one is riding on an ST20 mount. So that's the setup in there. Oh, loads of messages. The last landscape calendar I purchased was from Thomas Heaton, who is based in England, and I paid around 35 Australian dollars. Oh, crikey. And that included crikey, 35. What Bortle class do I live in? I live in Bortle 6. So I live in Bortle 6, and it's manageable, I would say. I would say the word's manageable. Yes. I went to Rome recently, and in Rome, if you look up, you can't see any stars at all. And that made me quite sad. But where I live, I'm on the edge of a town called Luton, which is on the edge of a very large village called London. It's not a village, it's a big city. So basically I'm very near London, about 35 miles away. So there is a lot of glow from London, but it's not horrendous. The main glow comes from a local town, which is Luton. We're also very close to Bedfordshire. If I was to drive maybe 20 minutes further, I could probably get down to Bortle 5-ish as you go further out into the villages. But the issue with that is the fact that here I have a garden, and I'm very lucky in that I have a garden, and if I drive out I have to it's very difficult to be able to do that, and I've got to look after my kids and everything else. So all the constraints of life prevent you from travelling out. So I make do with what I've got. But it is a Bortle 6. Yeah, it's probably Bortle 6 here. I mean, Clear Outside app says Bortle 6. Right, let's see if we are... So, of course, when I take... can I point towards Jupiter? Oh, right. So, what a fabulous question. Can I point towards Jupiter? Sadly, I can't. So, I'll just show you on this. That's another really cracking question. So, so if you think of the points of the compass, where my scopes are currently aligned is north. Now, Jupiter, Saturn, and most of the planets tend to rise and go across the south, so it would be pointing in the opposite direction. And sadly, my house is in the way. So Jupiter is basically so if I say I'm north is that way, so that it's that way. It's behind me. So my house is in the way. Now, a really good question, a really good thing you've just highlighted by saying you'd love to see Jupiter through this rig. Now, Jupiter is big. It is pretty big. And although these scopes look massive, they're actually tiny. So for a really good focal length, which would show Jupiter well, is anything sort of above 900 millimeters. So I would say 1,000 millimeter Newtonian focal length would give a really lovely image of Jupiter. Now, with this Newtonian, the focal length is only 650 millimeters. So it's quite a short focal length. And I have looked at Jupiter through this scope, and it was quite small, but you could see the moons of Jupiter quite clearly, and but it was small. So the bigger the focal length, the more zoomed in you get. But for things like nebulae and the really big objects that are in the sky, you don't want to be zoomed in. You really don't. You just need a smaller telescope, because some of these objects are massive. So for example, this is 650 millimeters, and we are looking, if I go into Nina and I go into imaging, you're looking at a galaxy which is obviously outside of our galaxy. So this is Andromeda, which is enormous, and the Milky Way, our galaxy, and Andromeda over the next few billion years will start to interact. And in fact, there is research to show that some of the outer arms of our galaxies are actually getting to the point at which they are interacting. So between Andromeda and the Milky Way, we will effectively rip each other apart, and a new galaxy or galaxies will form. Don't worry though, it's not happening a week on Tuesday, so we're okay. It's not for millions of years, billions of years. Sorry, I said millions. It should be billions of years. I don't know why I said millions. So you won't feel the effects of that, because our sun in about a billion years will have expanded and will have radically changed our planet and its environment. So we won't be around for that either. So effectively, yes, because our sun only has a lifespan probably of another 4 billion years still to go, but it will change so much in the first billion, it will expand a bit, and our planet will get too hot for us. So that's kind of what's going to happen, or thereabouts. So to look at the planets, you need a long focal length, and to look at bigger objects like Andromeda, you need a shorter focal length. So if we now go into my other rig, which is this one, and we'll take an 8-second exposure. Sorry, it's behind my head. I always do this. Let me go there. Okay, so I've moved that, and I'll go there. So we'll take an 8-second exposure. It should now have cleared the roof. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds. So it's just downloading the picture now. It's analysing it. There we go. So this is roughly where Pleiades will be, hopefully. So we can now hopefully slew to Pleiades, which is a very small cluster of stars when you look at it, but it's actually huge. It's massive. So framing, I'm going to just slew and centre. So now the telescope is doing some maths and saying, right, I'm going to slew to Pleiades. Someone's saying, haha, I think I've heard of that village. Yes, talking about London. That's good to hear. I'm trying to get back into this holiday. Also, I'll be also about Bortle 6. Order first tracking mount today. Oh, congratulations. That's really good. Excellent. You use an 8-inch Dobsonian 200 Oh, well, if you were looking at Jupiter through that Dobsonian, that will look stunningly beautiful. It will look beautiful. Yes, so an 8-inch Dob with an 8-inch mirror, 200mm mirror, f6.2 at 1300 millimeters will be amazing. Look really good. Right, so there's Pleiades. Look, how exciting. Let's just go. I'll start guiding just because I can. So you can see the star cluster there, and it's chosen a weird combination of stars. That's a bit better. Okay, let's just start guiding on that anyway. Clear out any previous stuff. So that's Pleiades, and now what I want to do is go into Nina or go into imaging. So that's Pleiades. I'm not that happy with that framing, to be honest. So let's actually framing, determine rotation from camera. So it's now taking a photo, analyzing the angle of the camera, and it will then change this square box. There we go. That's why it looks weird. So I'm going to reframe. I want it slightly more central than that. Okay, slew and center now. So those coordinates there have now, so they've basically, those are the coordinates I want to work to. But unfortunately, it will not have changed the coordinates that are here for Pleiades. So what I want to do is probably update this plan in a moment with the correct coordinates. But first of all, let's sort out our framing. So slew and center. It's very close. It's just not quite there. There you go. That's a bit better. Slightly more central, and then you'll hopefully get this nebulosity. That's cool. Now, I think update existing target in sequencer. That's what I was after. 45. That's good. So those coordinates have now been updated. Now we're very close to the meridian. Is that meridian? Kind of there. So basically I want it, so this is the plan. On start I want it to, so sludge target is already on target, don't you do that? Need to start guiding. On start do an autofocus on HFR increases, and also filter changes, do an autofocus, and then we're good to go. I think that's good. Let's start. So it should now switch the filter, which it is doing, has done, and we're now doing an autofocus. Let's go into the imaging tab for a second. Okay, so they're out of focus now, so it's now pulling the focus back. There you go, it got slightly tighter, and it will keep going through this until the half flux radius is at its lowest. And hopefully we'll get that V curve, which is what we're after. So we can just check that in the equipment tab, the filter wheel is now on red because it's changed that, and then it's running the auto focus after it changed the filter, because these filters require different focal positions for each color, and also with it being a doublet, the color correction is slightly different for each color. Very marginally, so it's always best to run an autofocus with each filter change for this. So it's completed its autofocus. It's waiting for PhD2 to settle. So it should just basically, yeah, it's just waiting for the mount to settle after its thing. Guide is not amazing there. It's a bit lumpy, but it is close to... When is meridian? Let's have a look at the meridian time. We're literally 20 minutes away from meridian, so guiding's never great around this point because it's almost up above and fully round, so there's very little movement. So we're now on our first 1 minute exposure with the red filter. This is a mono camera, so it will come in as black and white. So it's just the red channel that I'm looking at with this, and hopefully it should look pretty cool. It's a beautiful star cluster, Pleiades. There we go. So that's the first exposure with the red filter on Pleiades. So that is this sequence now started, and it should take me to about 2 AM in the morning. Which is cool. So what is going on outside? So this mount, in fact I will go and take a photo in a moment actually. I just need to make sure my kids are getting ready for bed. This mount is now pointed pretty much towards the house. This one is pointed further over. I'll take another photo and send it to myself, and then I'll open it and you guys can see. I just need to go and check on my children and make sure they are actually getting ready for bed. So what I'll do, I will leave you with this for now, and then I'll be back in about 5 minutes. And so don't go anywhere. I will be back very soon, but I'll turn the sound and my camera off for now. Back soon. Hello everybody, I am back. Hello. Who's still here? Everybody, excellent. Has it been working? Right, so my kids are delaying, as they always do, which is fine. Okay, so I've taken a photo. Let's just have a look. Oh, it's not so bad actually. Let me send it to myself, and then I can show you. So the scopes are in a different position. Let's have a look. Here we go. Right, download. Okay, this is the new photo. Right, so you can actually see what's going on a bit more now. So this is the 60 EDF, which is currently on Pleiades. So this is the one which you are seeing this image through, and it's so it is kind of pointing to the apex of my roof at the moment, as opposed to the other way where it was before. It was pointing in the opposite direction, as you can see. So it's in the different direction. Now you can see that it's almost at the meridian, and the meridian is going to be between I'll just read it. It's 22:23. This is local time GMT, until 22:28. So we'll actually see the meridian, and I'm hoping I've got the right settings in the commander to enable that window to take place for the meridian flip. So this is going to be good for me to be able to see this. You can see this scope is the one which is on Andromeda, and it's moved around a little bit compared to where it was. So it was there before, and now it's, hang on, that one there, it's just a little bit further round, that's all. So that's where we are now. This will do the meridian flip in 12 minutes. So we should hopefully see it do a flip. Now what that will mean in terms of this image, imagine this image will basically be flipped over. So this sort of shape that you have here will be the opposite way round. So it'll be that way round. But you'll see that in a few moments, hopefully. So this will be doing a flip. It has become hazy outside, and if we look at guiding, actually you can't actually see the haze. Let's have a look on the other camera, because that seems to show it up a bit better. So there's we're now on the other rig, and actually even looking at these exposures, they look okay. But it's definitely more hazy, definitely. This is guiding well. So yeah, I'm not unhappy about that. That's fine. I know everyone would say, yeah, you want it below 1. It's fine. Stars are round. That's all that matters. So if I went to arc seconds, it'll be a lot worse. Yep. So it's below an arc second. And the units in pixels. That's fine. I can't do anything about it, so it has to be fine. So I'm very keen to see this meridian flip work. I have to confess, my previous Ioptron mount, I never succeeded in getting it to do a meridian flip, and I think it's probably a combination of me not fully understanding the settings required. So I'm hoping that this time it will, because I've put in quite a large window into the commander interface. We'll find out fairly soon though. Almost a bit nervous about this meridian flip. Shouldn't be really. It's only kit, isn't it? If you do have any questions or any thoughts or anything at all, please do feel free to put them in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them or to say hello, even if it's just that. So what we're watching for, if basically the mount will pause and the meridian flip bar in Nina will appear. What I have previously found is that the Ioptron mount will stop guiding, and an error message will come up within Nina saying that it's no longer, or rather within PhD2 saying it's no longer responding to pulse guiding. And I'm hoping that I've allowed the mount to guide beyond the meridian enough to enable the window for Nina to take over. So basically Nina has to be the master of everything because it's controlling the automation. So hopefully, all being well, it will do exactly that. Because I've given it a 10-degree window, and it's 4 minutes time per 10 degrees, so that's essentially 40 minutes. extra. Think? Is that right? Yeah, I think so. It's always interesting when you get a new thing, and you have to have that learning curve. So really good question about software. I've got so there are two pieces of software. Well, there are actually three pieces of software currently running, which we can see here. This one is called Nina, and it's nighttime imaging. So they miss out the and bit, the A and the D. It's just astronomy, and it's called Nina for short. It's an automation piece of software, and it is basically there to allow you to connect lots of bits of equipment together on one software platform. This particular software platform is open source. It is developed by people internationally, and people can also develop plugins to improve different aspects of it. Like, for example, the focusing routine is one of the many plugins that you can add to Nina. So Nina controls everything. It's like the conductor in an orchestra. So Nina is in charge. In addition to this, we have Push Here Dummy, which is PHD, and this piece of software also connects via a server. So this creates a server which Nina becomes the client of, and it basically allows control of the guiding. Now, this software here is looking at a section of the sky in a secondary scope. So if I was to go and look at my photo, you can see this secondary scope here, and on this one here, it's this little tiny scope just there. So that's the main imaging scope, and this is the guiding scope. And the guiding scope that we see here, this is the field of view for that tiny little telescope, and the circular dots are where the software has selected a bunch of stars, and the square dot is the main guiding star. But this software is clever enough to be able to look at all of those stars and work out in its algorithm to see the whole field of view of movement of those particular stars. So for example, if a cloud goes over this particular star, it will utilize the information which is coming from the other stars to maintain its guiding position as best it can. So multi-star guiding is more accurate. So that's essentially what you're seeing there. It also means that if that star does disappear, it could theoretically utilize the other stars to keep its guiding going. So that application is guiding the mount. So as the Earth rotates, the equatorial mount is compensating for that rotation to enable the image in the main scope to stay still. What we have also got here is something called dither. Now, all of our equipment is inherently noisy, so our pictures, as you can see if I zoom in a little bit on this, you can see there's a huge amount of noise in all of these images. And what dithering does is it every so many pictures, it moves the telescope a few pixels up and down and left and right. And by doing that, it can take a mathematical average of the noise and then average it out so that because the noise is random and moving, you get a lower level of noise. So it doesn't add the noise together, it basically reduces the amount of noise. So dithering basically moves the image around slightly, and you will often see, if I go back in, this is going to any second now start its meridian flip. So It should be at the end of this exposure. Hopefully it should start. So just bear with me 10 seconds. Now we'll continue with my ramble. Please, please, please start after this exposure. Yay! Right. Fantastic. This is good. So it's stopped the guiding. It's past the meridian now. It is now rotating the scope to the other side of the mount, and then it will recenter, select a new guide star, resume auto guiding and settle. So hopefully, all being well, this should work. I hope. So it's now flipped the scope round, and because it's moved, everything is moved. It's now just settling and allowing all of the, it's just having a rest. It's had a little bit of exercise, so it's having a settle. Then it will take an exposure, and it will not be on the Pleiades. It'll be different. So it's now taking a short exposure, and it will analyze that exposure to see what the framing is. So it'll use what's called plate solving to do that, and it tells me there, and you can see from the picture in the background, the telescope is not at the same coordinates, and the whole sky is mapped, and basically it's using a database to find out exactly where it is, and it's basically now checking whether it's found. There you go. So it's now actually found Pleiades. It's selecting a new guide star within the new field of view. So if we look in here, it's now looking at a new guide star, which is that one there. It's now told PhD2 via the client application onto the server, which is running in PhD2, to start guiding, which is what it's just done. And it's now allowing PhD2 to just basically allow all the mechanics to settle and to sort out its guiding, and then it will start the exposures again. And all being well, that was a successful meridian flip. 4, 3, 2, 1. So this will now vanish. So now we've got the Pleiades, which is the same framing, but because the telescope has flipped, the image has flipped as well. So, and that's the same, basically the same thing as before. Great, meridian flip done. That is good news. I'm really glad about that. Now usually, and I don't know if this is the same for all harmonic drive mounts, but normally with my equatorial worm gear mounts, I find that guiding is slightly better on one side than it is on the other. But with harmonic drive mounts, I don't know if that is the case, because I'm new to this game, but so far it does indeed look like it's happier being on the, so it will have gone around to the east side of the mount, or the mount has gone to the east side because it was on the west side. So we'll confirm that. Sorry, yep, so that's the west side, so north, south, east and west. So this scope will be like this, but on the other side, on this side now. Yeah, so what was I rambling on about? Yes, I was talking about dithering. So if we look here, there's a word dither there, and that's where it will have pushed the mount around a little bit. So that's what has happened just there. And it does that, I've set it up in the software to do that every 4 images, so dithering every 4 where it moves around. And you can also see from the graph it is now past the meridian and it's on the other side of the slope now. I haven't checked the other mount for a while, so I'm just going to look there. Ooh, guiding's terrible. Something's gone wrong. Look at this. Wow. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? It's gone mad. I'm going to move my head so you can see what's going on. So we've had perfectly normal guiding, and then something has happened here, and it's struggled, it's kind of corrected and then struggled again, and then struggled again, and now it's actually corrected it. So I'm just going to nip out and see if something weird has happened. So I'll be back very soon. Hello everyone. So I couldn't see anything wrong with the mount outside, so I don't know why the guiding went strange. You can see it went quite weird over there, and then it's returned to normal. Who knows? Who knows? Okay. Let's quickly go back over here. Check everything is working. Everything's looking pretty good. So I'm probably going to wrap very soon because I need to go to bed myself. It looks like everything is functioning. Everything has done meridian flips and other things as well, so I don't need to worry too much about that now. Yep, guiding's cool. Great. So I will say goodnight, everybody. Did it stop guiding during the meridian flip? Yes. So during the meridian flip, because the mount has to stop, what it does is it basically stops guiding, stops everything moving, turns the mount to the other side. Then it does its using the right ascension and declination of the object that you put into the sequencer. It basically uses that to find where it's meant to be pointing by comparing the images it's taking and the images and the position of the scope, and then doing some maths and adjusting the position of the telescope. Then it restarts guiding, allows it to settle, and once it's settled, it restarts the automation. So that's the sequence. So you're absolutely right. Yeah, it does. It did stop guiding during the meridian flip. Okay, I wish to wish you all, if you celebrate Christmas, have an amazing Christmas, and if you just have a few days off, I hope you all have an amazing few days off. I'm going to try and release a video, hopefully over the next, it might even be tomorrow, we'll see how it goes. We'll see. It's all dependent on family and time and stuff, but thank you all for your company. I really appreciate that very much. It's been really nice to have people chatting and sending messages and stuff. So thank you all for joining, and have an amazing Christmas. I'm hoping that I'll do something like this again over the next week or so, but we'll see how the weather goes. It'd be really nice to do something just after Christmas, but before New Year. That would be really nice to kind of do a post-Christmas stroke before New Year, end of 2025, beginning of 26 video. That and you know, just be nice to have some company for that. So take care, everyone. Hope you're all having a good sort of pre-Christmas at the moment, and I will speak to you all very soon. Take care. Bye bye.